You are listening to Blue Pigment Podcast, a podcast for art and a platform to launch undiscovered talents from. If you are a regular, reserve or veteran and you want to come onto the show, please find Blue Pigment on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or you can go to the website bluepigment.co.uk, where you'll find many ways to communicate with myself and hopefully get you on the show. If you would like to become a patron of this show, head over to patreon.com and then search Blue Pigment. As a patron, you will get early access to the episodes, as well as merchandise and other benefits such as patron thank yous and behind the scenes access. You can become a Sapphire patron for £3 a month, a Blue Diamond patron for £10 a month, or you can personalise or customise your own pledge. Head over to patreon.com. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it is that you happen to be listening to this podcast. I have another treat in store for you, and this one I need to advise you that it has swear words and it talks about alcohol and drug misuse, so parental guidance applies. It is only a short part that talks about that. Say this particular guest that I have, he foul-mouthed man. But before I get started with the next artist, I want to talk about a bit more mental health. Now, the reason this keeps coming up, I keep bringing this up, is that there's a set of videos that I've watched, and I'll send you the link. It will be in the descriptions to this episode, and it's old black and white footage that has been converted into colour. Now, I don't know if any of you have watched that kind of footage, black and white footage converted into colour. It's amazing. It's really cool to see olden times in more of a modern light. You can more see yourself in that picture, and it's more relatable. But one of the things I always notice is it's a time of, within history, where there was little to no sort of electricity, not many products of electricity, a massively reduced amount of information that's coming at you all the time. So obviously nowadays we have the TV, which is bombarding us with information. We have our phones that are constantly with us, bombarding us with information. Big advertisement boards that are always there. And the thing I noticed with these black and white videos, that there isn't any of that. There's no TVs, there's no phones, there's no massive advertisement boards with shiny flashing lights in your face constantly. The thing I notice about the people in these videos is they seem so slow, as in the way that they walk. You could be walking down the road with nowhere to go, just kicking a stone down the road, and that's their source of entertainment for the day, is to kick a can or a pebble down the street. And it's amazing that they have that time to spend, that they even notice the pebble in the first place to kick it down the street. Whereas nowadays we seem to be in a rush, constantly, always getting to, wanting to go somewhere, be somewhere, do something. And I find myself, I get annoyed at myself when I'm not being productive enough. For example, when I go to bed, if I'm brushing my teeth and I nip to the toilet, I get annoyed at myself if I don't do both things at the same time. If I go to the toilet and then I go and brush my teeth, I think, I could have done two things at once there. Probably a bit gross. You probably think, what's this going on about? But I think that's maybe shows a little bit that society has massively changed to that we're constantly trying to be more productive. And even in the business sense and whatever job or career you have, there's sometimes your employee, whether it's a big business or not, they want to get as much out of their employee as possible. Once you're no longer efficient, you become redundant slightly, and they move on to a younger model or younger version of yourself that can be that productive and consistently meet those demands. And as a society, I feel like it would be amazing if we could take a step back and possibly move away from that and focus on mental health a little bit more. And if you're a big business owner or a small business owner and you're listening to this and you think, I'm constantly hounding at my employees, trying to get the most out of them, sometimes when you give them a bit of clear space, a bit of freedom, a bit of white space, in the program of that particular day or month or year, you'll be amazed with what they just start coming out with anyway. When people are given free time, they will fill it with productivity, they will fill it with creativity. So my point is, give people a bit of freedom, a bit of space, get people away from their TVs and their phones and the advertisement, and you'll see what kind of productivity and creativity can come out from that. So a podcast that I like to listen to is a podcast called H Hour by Hugh Keir, and he does a lot for mental health, he has some amazing guests on there, and they talk about situations in their lives that's affected their mental health and how they've dealt with it. And one of the episodes, he mentions that he has kind of like an IA drill, or immediate action drill, that he does if he starts to feel a bit down. And so that inspired me to sort of make an immediate action drill for myself. Now, what a immediate action drill is something that in the military gets used quite a lot. It's sort of mainly used for weapon systems, sort of, weapons firing right, weapon stops, and then what to do on looking at your weapon, how to adjust it. So for your life, what I would like to do is life's going alright, life's not going so well. On looking at your life, you see that you're a little bit depressed or down or anxious. So my IA drill is a list actually of 11 things that you need to look at. And the first one is talk about your feelings. Now, I know that whenever somebody says, "Oh, talk about your feelings," there is definitely a stigma to that, and people get a bit, weird and up in arms about somebody talking about their feelings, which is quite peculiar. And the reason I think that people don't like talking about their feelings is because sometimes we look at our grandparents that survived through a world war, and that they bottle it up and they don't talk about it, so we need to be brave and put on this brave face and not talk about it ourselves. And having been through traumatic situations in my life myself, I kind of feel that actually not talking about it is less brave than talking about it, because when you talk about your feelings, sometimes it brings up other emotions that you're worried about or scared about. So to be brave is just to convey what's going on with you. I mean, it's not like it's some weird big issue, it's just you're talking about how you feel. So my next on the list is keep active. I do find sometimes when I've had a rest week, I start to feel a bit uneasy, and I feel, I need to get out, I need to go do something, I need to go and be somewhere. So keep active, go for a run, think about your health, and when you think about your physical health, it will improve your mental health as well. And that also brings me on to the third item on my list, which is eat well. That doesn't mean don't order that Chinese or that pizza. It just means be more considerate of what it is that you're putting into your body. And item number 4 is drinking. So it's the same sort of thing with what you eat and what you drink. If you're constantly bombarding your body with things that aren't good for it, you're going to feel that mentally. So eat healthily, but allow yourself to have that treat that gives you those endorphins, that big cheesy pizza or whatever it is that we all crave from time to time. Next on my list, number 5, is keep in touch. Ring people, talk to people, talk to the neighbour over the fence. Just keep in touch with other humans and have some sort of interaction. I know it's quite difficult these times, with COVID and everything, but it's too easy to move away from to not talk to people. Just be brave and strike up a conversation. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to continue my list after I introduce my next guest. So his name is Marty Lees. He used to be in the Paras, and he moved on to private security. Some people that may know him, his nickname was Foxy, and more recently his pen name is Marty the Fox. He joined the army in 1999 and was in anti-tanks, and he left in 2005, which is actually when I got to anti-tanks. So we would have just missed each other, unfortunately. He went on to private security, and after 9 years of ignoring how much that kind of life was affecting him, he had a little bit of a meltdown and ran off to California to be a hippie and live in the woods. They are his words, by the way. And he actually does, because I've seen his videos. He's got a lovely log burner. He now still lives in North California and writes poetry and books. But this is the guy I was saying about with the foul mouth. And his first poem I'm going to show you is him talking about his log burner, which I completely... I know exactly how he feels when you're trying to light a fire and there's everyone's watching and you're worried about if you know it doesn't go well and if you're caveman enough to sort it out. Anyway, here is his poem. It's called I Will Get My Coat.
I'll get me coat. The winds of Sagittarius are howling round the house. The temperature's the sort that brings involuntary grouse. Who will be the hero as our frozen night looks dire, and step up to the task of building everyone a fire? As icicles begin to form, I call out, I'm your man. Gather sticks of kindling and form a fire plan. Construct combustion's hieroglyph as I was taught to do. Don't worry folks, you'll have a sweat on by the time I'm through. My frigid friends expectantly observe my ritual, as I try to make unpracticed hands appear habitual. I've said that I can do this now, so let's see if it's true. I whisper Lucifer a quiet prayer up the flue. Match to paper, up she goes, I knew I had the knack. I wheel in celebration, their expressions turn me back. The momentary warmth faded with the yellow flame. The fireplace goes dark again, the logs look just the same. Just a little setback, I've been here off before. I turn back to the hearth and sit back down upon the floor. Don't worry, I'll get it, I say, a touch upset. But as my friends are shivering, my palms begin to sweat. I've only got myself to blame, I'm why I'm in this jam. That longing for approval, to be certain who I am, has caused my mouth to write another bouncy rubber check. The only thing that's burning is their eyes into my neck. Or am I just imagining this pressure that I feel? Could it be that much of this projection isn't real? I can't decide for others if they think I'm cool or tough. Besides, they're busy being them. I'm me, and that's enough. Rearrange the flammables, strike another match. Touch it several places, surely one of them will catch. It's going up, I've done it, I am master of the flame. Perhaps I'll write a poem of my fire starter fame. I'll speak about the triangle of fuel and air and heat, and how I summon magic in the places where they meet. I've thoroughly impressed myself until I'm forced to shout, fuck my motherfucking life, the fucking thing's gone out.
Some absolutely hilarious lines in there, and there you go, right at the end, those foul language, but slap yourself on the wrist, Marty. Before I move on to the next poem, I just want to cover the other points from my mental health IA drill. Number 6 is ask for help. I think that one speaks for itself. If you're in a position where you need to ask for help, then you should definitely do it. And maybe that can tie into Marty's poem about getting the fire lit as well. Take a break is number 7, and all that means is get away from everything really. Just enjoy a spot of nature, you know, something natural, not a break to go and use your phone, not a break to go and listen to the radio or read a newspaper. A break from everything, you know, just a silent break where you just have moments to think and be within your mind. So number 8 is do something that makes you feel good. I think we should all do that from time to time, is have a bit of time to do something that we enjoy. 9 is accept who you are. You don't want your life to be revolved around trying to impress other people. Just care for you, and you know, think about what you want in life and try and just accept who you are and don't try to be somebody else. So number 10 then is take care of others, because when you help others, sometimes that releases endorphins so that you feel good about yourself as well. And the last one is sleep. Sleep is so important. If you're feeling anxious, worried, frightened, scared, you know, sometimes getting a good night's sleep can just make all the difference. So the next poem I'm going to introduce from Marty is called Mother Loving Soul, and I assume it's about life and your journey through life.
Well, ain't this just embarrassing? I'm truly in a hole. I'm stuck inside this body as a mother-loving soul, if soul's even the right word for what it is to be. All that I know is that you don't know how to be me. I've always had my mother's love, my dad was always proud. My home was always warm, never too quiet or too loud. But there's always been an itch inside that I could never scratch. My legs were trying to run away as soon as I was hatched. I took a shilling, signed a line and served my youth in green, among men that most will only gaze in awe at on a screen. They taught me much that's kept me strong and humble in the face of all that I've encountered on this trip through time and space. I've been living on my wits now for many a long year, and like wild rovers before me, I've spent enough on beer and weed and coke and women and the liquor that I've tasted. But despite these wise investments, all I hadn't got was wasted. I've seen a lot of places and I've been a lot of folks. I've met a lot of faces and I've heard a lot of jokes. Some of them even made me laugh and many made me weep. Many I've broke promise to, this one I know I'll keep. To have, to hold and honour, until death solemnly part. My virginity is long since gone, but she can have my heart. And one day, if we're lucky, our two halves will make a whole. and deliver unto us another mother-loving soul.
A unique look at life and someone's point of view of life, I guess. I'm going to move straight on to the next poem because I'm very conscious of the time, and this next poem is called I Am My Nation's Warrior.
I am my nation's warrior, my life is in their hands, won't question when I'm asked to ply my trade in foreign lands, or hold the line at home when darkness pounds upon the gate. All I ask for is remembrance, if falling is my fate. They were their nation's warriors, and now they have returned. They wear their scars inside and out, and medals they have earned. Some nights they wake up screaming, though their mind's too far to hear. It's smelling, hearing, seeing, feeling, old familiar fear. I was my nation's warrior, but now I march no more. Now I'm left to question, do I know what it was for? What all the blood and suffering adds up to in the end? What return on this investment of our brothers, sons and friends? They are your nation's warriors. Handle them with care. They're dangerous and vulnerable, and they'll always be there. So protect them from the people that wage war for greed and gain. And remember them, their families, their sacrifice, their pain.
So I really enjoyed that poem. Marty is brilliant. He's mostly on Instagram, so I'll put the links in the description box. So I think this has actually been my longest episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you can take my IA drill. I'll quickly go over in bullet point form for you now, just so you can maybe write it down, take it away with you, and if you need it, put it into practice. So talk about your feelings, keep active, eat well, drink sensibly, keep in touch, ask for help, take a break, do something that makes you feel good, accept who you are, care for others, and sleep. If you do require some additional help with mental health, you can go to mentalhealth.org.uk. Another great charity is mind.org.uk. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I have, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
The opinions expressed on this podcast are solely of my own or the guests, and do not express the views or opinions of anyone else or Ministry of Defence.